Now, this is what you need to understand. It took 9 years for my parents to get this visa. They applied many times, they got rejected many times, and every time they applied, they were both fired from their jobs and were looked upon as the enemies of the state. And that's exactly what it meant. In a highly patriotic and closed country as the USSR, asking to leave meant you were a traitor. It also meant that at the time of departure, you would be stripped of your citizenship, all your possessions, and would not be allowed to come back. So for me, at the age of 17, the life as I knew it was over. And not because I wanted to, I was actually quite happy living there. But my parents wanted a better life for me and my younger brother, so I had no choice but to face the reality. And the reality meant that I had to say goodbye to all my friends forever. I did not know the Berlin Wall was going to come down. I had to say goodbye to my extended family forever. I couldn't even stay in touch with them because that would get them in trouble with the KGB, and we didn't want that. So from one moment to the next, I became a Jewish refugee, going into the unknown, leaving everything I knew and loved behind. So about 3 months later, on the 3rd of December, we arrived to Miami, Florida, with a little suitcase each, filled with kitchen appliances and bedding. Now, I don't know, I should actually ask my mom, why she thought that outside of the Soviet Union they will not be selling kitchen appliances and bedding. But in her opinion, to take care of her family, she needed kitchen appliances and bedding. And that's what we brought. $80 per person. Nobody spoke English, and the only people we knew there were my aunt and her daughter. Now, America was not as bad as we were brainwashed to believe during the Cold War propaganda. But for me, it felt like an exile. The mindset was so different to what I was used to that I felt completely lost, confused. I lost my sense of identity. I didn't know what I wanted to do, who I was anymore. I got quite depressed. At first, all I wanted to do was stay in bed and cry into my pillow. And that's exactly what I did for a few weeks, until I realized that my parents had a tough job getting on their feet themselves and looking after my younger brother and after my grandfather that was getting more and more sick. So I had to pull myself together and find a way to support myself, and I had to learn to survive. Eventually, I graduated with highest honors from Florida Atlantic University, majoring in education. I was supporting myself, and on the outside, I was doing well. But inside, I was still feeling just as lost and confused. I wanted to be somebody. I wanted to change the world, but I had no idea how. And one of the most important things that I learned was that I am responsible for my life, nobody else. That the quality of my life has nothing to do with where I come from. It has nothing to do with how I was brought up, how much money I had or didn't have, what education I got or didn't get. The quality of my life depends on what I choose to believe and what habits I choose to have or not to have. The quality of my life also depends on the decisions that I make and the consequences of those decisions. And the quality of those decisions depend on the quality of what I'm choosing to feel and to think on a regular basis. And when I found out that it's actually choice, what I feel and what I think, I spent a lot of time researching and learning about how to master my emotions and how to filter my thoughts. And then I wrote a book about it, which you can later purchase if you want. I also learned that holding on to blame, resentment, piling responsibility on my childhood traumas or on those who wronged me was only holding me back. So I had to learn to forgive and to accept. I found out that guilt is one of the most destructive emotions, and I learned to let go of it. I also learned to let go of feeling sorry for myself, and the victim mentality. But most importantly, I learned not to be scared of change and to face my fears. It is by identifying and facing our fears that we really get to grow and we really get to create the quality of life that we want to have. I still dance because dancing is my passion. And I believe in doing things we're passionate about now and not postpone them for when the time is right. I'm passionate about many things, and I share my passion through writing and through speaking. I have 2 best-selling books. I have thousands of people whose life I touched and influenced. It's an incredible feeling to know that you bring value into this world. But this can never happen until you learn to value yourself and your life first. So let me ask you something. Would you say you value yourself enough to let go of the emotions that don't serve you anymore, that only cause you suffering and pain? Or are you choosing to hold on to them because it's become a habit, or because the familiar is less scary than the unknown? Do you value yourself enough to overcome the fear of change? Without change, there is stagnation, and stagnation means death. There is a big difference between the water that flows and a swamp. Would you say you value yourself enough to dream big, to go after those dreams, and to make choices, no matter how terrifying they might seem at the moment, that give you a chance at living a much more fulfilling, more peaceful, and a happier life? Because as long as you're dreaming, you're alive. And as long as you're alive, you may as well live this life to the fullest and on your terms. Thank you.